Hulu just released a new documentary about the Miss Universe organization. It's called Cracks in the Crown. I'm going to link it below if you want to check it out for yourself. So today we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about just general Miss Universe news and updates. I feel like if you've been following along with my channel and the organization or anything online, then nothing in the documentary is probably going to shock you. I feel like this documentary is a lot more for people who just don't really know about the pageant industry and are curious about it. And of course, if there's any drama, people are going to tune in. I do want to touch on a couple of things though that were mentioned in the documentary. The first thing is that they talked about how Alma is currently a student pursuing her master's at Stanford University. And I feel like that's an important detail because remember, Miss USA was supposed to get her Miami apartment. I don't know what happened with that. Alma is clearly staying at Stanford because she's continuing her education. And the reason I want to mention that this is so out of the norm is because typically if you win Miss America or you win Miss USA or specifically Miss Universe, you pause your academic aspirations for the year. You get permission typically from your school, and then you serve your reign as Miss USA, and then you can always go back to that. And that makes so much sense because typically Miss USA is super busy, and she hasn't been. It was basically like she just went MIA shortly before Miss Universe, and she popped up at Miss Universe, and now people are wondering where in the world is she. I'm wondering why wasn't she in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. There are just so many places that she could be, and it's just sad that she's just kind of MIA again. One great point that I love that the former press manager of Miss Universe brought up in this documentary is that right now the Miss Universe organization is introducing all of these products, skincare, beauty, they're introducing swimsuits, all sorts of things. But the industries that they're trying to break into with these products are very competitive and one might say highly saturated. It seems like the strategy they're really pushing is to push out products and product sales. Now, we heard them talking about this back in the leaked episode where Anne says that transgender women, mothers, plus size contestants, they can compete, they can't win. It's all about a socially inclusive message and the purpose is to sell products. But I still don't get why this is going to be their main strategy when I don't feel like the products that they're releasing are exciting. They're not groundbreaking. They're not truly competitive in their respective industries. Like, I haven't heard anybody rushing to go buy the Miss Universe swimsuits. I don't hear anybody or any influencers or beauty bloggers talking about the Miss Universe skincare line and raving about it and how great it is. I don't feel like you're really going to get pageant audiences to even be excited about these products. And if not them, who else? And so I just feel like it's just a crazy plan. Rafa from the Critical Beauty channel appeared in the documentary as well, and he seemed to be the only one that was going to bat for Layla Rose in this. That makes sense. I feel like you kind of got to have somebody defending the people that you're kind of going after in this documentary in order to show both sides of something. I don't feel like inviting the one blogger to your show that's definitely going to say positive things about you, like without a doubt, is as powerful as inviting people like myself to your show or others who have questioned the current strategy or the current direction of the organization. If you invited us and then produced a show that is, the contrary of everything that we've been talking about, then people like myself would be forced to get on camera, go talk to our audiences and say, guys, you know what? They are turning a new page in the organization. Things are improving. Let's go support Miss USA. I'm telling you, that is a much better strategy for getting the public's support. It would make so much sense, but alas, here we are. One thing I didn't really dive into in my other episodes is the state director resignations, and they did talk about this in the Hulu documentary. I actually didn't realize it was this many. So during Layla Rose's directorship of Miss USA, New Hampshire, Vermont, District of Columbia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Louisiana, Arizona, and Alaska directors all stepped away from the organization. That isn't kind of crazy to think that Layla literally lost 1/5 of her directors within her first full official calendar year. And really her first full year is 2024, because in 2023 she stepped in kind of in the middle, right? Like she took over working with Morgan. Morgan was technically, would have been Crystal Stewart's era. Although 10 states lost their directors, we didn't lose 10 directors because a few of these directors did direct multiple states, just to be clear. The documentary also had a little update that I have have not yet shared on my channel, and that is that Alma has retained a lawyer. So this happened prior to Miss Universe. So I've known about this for a while. All I can say about this, because nobody wanted to respond to Hulu for this documentary, is that put on your thinking caps. Simple question, do you think it's good or bad that Alma would retain a lawyer? I'm just gonna let you figure that out for yourself. Now, there's a couple other things in terms of Miss Universe news that you all wanted me to talk about, and I'm really sad. I don't want to dive too deep into these things, but many of you have been saying you have to share about this on the channel. Okay, so I will share about these things. I don't really want to dive too far in. Shortly after Victoria was crowned, this video popped up on social media, and many people are saying that she is mouthing the N-word in this video. Here's the video clip if you've been wondering what people are talking about, and you can decide for yourself. Something else that people are chatting about is that Road to Miss USA posted a screen recording of Raul's Instagram threads, and it would appear he is reaching out to, I think these are AI models, honestly. I don't even think all of these people are real. I don't really know. A lot of people are talking about this. They don't like how it looks for optics for the organization. Shortly after this, Raul did block Road to Miss USA on his personal Instagram, but the damage is done. Everything's already out there. And I feel like the reason that people really don't like what they saw on his threads, it's just because it's fuel to the fire. If you've really been paying attention, Raul has basically been inseparable from Victoria since she has been crowned. He has appeared in interviews with her. He has a lot of photos with her at her first appearances. And people do bring up the point that Trump also did take photos with his title holder. But the one thing I want to say about that is that, yes, Trump had pictures with his title holders, but I personally never saw a Miss Universe get crowned and saw Donald Trump do a media week tour basically with his title holder. Yes, he has photos here and there when he's in an event, but I haven't seen anything quite like this. If you have, and I'm incorrect, please let me know if Donald Trump ever did a press tour with his title holders. I'm just not aware of it. Not only did he do the press tour, but he actually did the Fidel photo shoot with her, and I've never seen anything like this before. He actually brought wardrobe changes to take pictures with Victoria. Now, in the past, I have seen these photo shoots from Fidel. I feel like it's always been a high moment for the Miss Universe winners, and it's been a really special moment for them, and in the past, it's always been about them. I've never seen this photo shoot done with the director like this. Here's what a lot of people had to say about this online. There is something else that I caught when I rewatched the show, and that is Raul says during his speech that he personally interviewed each contestant. And so that is something I had never heard of before. I didn't hear about that anywhere else. I don't know if he played a part in selecting the new title holder, because in the past, during the telecast, it used to say that the new winner was chosen by judges and members of the Miss Universe organization. So I'm really, really curious how things are changing behind the scenes. I don't know. Some other people are talking about online how Victoria was one of the few contestants that actually visited the Miss Universe office in Mexico. And that's really not uncommon, because we've seen past contestants visit the Miss Universe offices when they were in New York. The one thing I would say that I didn't notice for any other contestant is I believe that Victoria may have been the only contestant who actually visited the Mexico office, but then also took a trip to Thailand before the competition.
Denmark! Miss Universe Denmark, everyone. Introduce yourself.
Hello, Universe! I am Victoria Talvi, and I'm your Miss Universe Denmark 2024. Today I'm here at the JKM Global Group, and let me just tell you all how excited and honored I am to be here. I'm Victoria Talvi, your Miss Universe Denmark 2024. For mig er Miss Universe-konkurrencen en livslang drøm. For mig er skønhedskonkurrencer en hyldest af kvinder. Det er en global fejring and be a part of the history, crowning of the next Miss Universe.
This is something that people are talking about and people keep sending me messages about it, but I cannot confirm if she is the only contestant who visited both offices. One sad thing that I think happened during this production that just kind of breaks my heart is that Albany was under the impression that she was the preliminary host and also the backstage host, so essentially doing the job of Catriona and Zuri. She gets to the Miss Universe pageant and then they tell her, we don't know what you're talking about. No, actually, you're just the preliminary host, you're not the backstage host. And she was so hurt and so crushed, and you can see this in a video. Honestly, I was shocked that she shared this with everybody before prelims. This is a post that I found that was reposted from her online, and I was just really, really sad to see it. How disappointing. I just feel like it's so reckless to tell your formers that they're going to be participating in the show and then they're not. It's just so sad, but you can watch the clip.
I came into Miss Universe thinking I was going to be a prelims host, which I still am and I'm very excited about, but there was some sort of mix up and I'm actually not host for backstage commentator, which I was preparing for and thinking I was. I'm like so heartbroken and upset, and just talking to the people that are coordinating it, it's just a really complicated issue that can't be resolved. I've spent like the last few hours being extremely upset about it. Since I can't be backstage commentator for finals, they told me we could do backstage coverage on the social media channels for finals night. And so that's never been done before. I had the liberty to think of something completely new and take it and run with it. I'm just trying to get rid of those negative feelings and move forward and work with what I've got, because I've prepared so much for this. I have a whole team out here. I brought gowns, outfits. I mean, I've been preparing for this for so long. I just got me some creme brulee. You know, I was all emotional and I'm just eating my feelings now before I go to bed and have prelims tomorrow. Tomorrow, I gotta bring the energy. It's going to be a very long day. Very, very long. We start early, rehearsals, then get ready and showtime. So I'm gonna sign out. I'm gonna fix my attitude and wake up fresh tomorrow.
A couple other things to note is that after the pageant, Brazil talked about how unhappy she has been with her director. She talked about a lot of problems going on there within that organization, so maybe keep your eye out for that. Who knows if we'll hear more news.
Eu ouvi todos os dias que a coroa poderia simplesmente ser tirada de mim.
Não.
Eu fui proibida de dar entrevista, de contatar pessoas, eu fui proibida de fazer live, né? Segundo o Gerson chama de live qualquer coisa que vai pro Instagram. Ele não sabe a diferença entre uma live, um post, um stories. O argumento é que tudo deveria ter passado por ele antes, tudo deveria ser controlado por ele, só que foi negado.
I think it's very important that collectively all of us girls come together and speak out on our experiences and how not so empowering it was for us. And yeah, this organization is not it. I wouldn't even let my own daughter do Miss Universe as long as this organization is in charge. So someone needs to do something about it.
And then actually Miss Kenya stepped away from her title and from her organization. So this is really interesting to see, I would say, after Miss Universe. Now, something else that so many of you have been sending, and at first I didn't understand what you meant, and now I get what you're saying, is the fact that Victoria didn't compete for her national pageant this year. People were saying it's a problem that Victoria was a judge, and I was like, why would it be a problem if Victoria judged a pageant? I've judged pageants, and then I won pageants after. What's the big deal? So it took me a moment, and I pieced it together. Now I understand why it's a big deal to so many people. We have to look at the history. In 2021, Victoria competed for the Miss Denmark organization. The Miss Denmark organization holds the franchise rights to Miss Grand International and Miss Universe. They can send a Miss Denmark to both of those respective pageants. So in 2021, Victoria was a runner-up at Miss Denmark. She did not win the national title, but she was selected to represent Denmark at Miss Grand International, where she placed in the top 20. Fast forward to this year of competition. Victoria did not compete at Miss Denmark 2024. She was not a part of the national competition. She actually was judging Miss Denmark 2024. She judges on September 1st and they crown a title holder whose name is Emma. Then hours after, not even 24 hours after, the Miss Denmark organization makes an announcement that they are not going to send Emma because she doesn't have enough time to prepare. So keep in mind she got crowned in September. Miss Universe Universe is in November, I would argue that she has time to prepare, because historically, we have to look back and see that some contestants actually have had 1 day to prepare for Miss Universe. Let's look at Elle Smith as an example, who won Miss USA in 2021. The day after her crowning, she flew to Houston to try on some wardrobe from sponsors, and the very next day after that, she was in Israel checking in for the Miss Universe competition. In the past, organizations did not send a separate representative because their winner did not have enough time to prepare. So some people might be saying, well, it's not that odd to send a different representative to Miss Universe, because that does happen from time to time. And yes, you are correct, and I have a couple of great examples of that. Look at Miss South Africa 2020. Natasha Joubert represented South Africa at Miss Universe 2020, although she was selected as second runner-up at her national pageant. The winner of Miss South Africa 2020 actually went on to compete at Miss World. The first runner-up went to compete at Miss Supranational. That is because at the time, the Miss South Africa organization had the franchise rights to those 3 organizations, so they were able to select from their top 5 who would represent their country at the respective organization. In the past, it's not uncommon for a runner-up during the year of competition to represent a country, meaning that Natasha was second runner-up in 2020, so she went to Miss Universe 2020. We've seen this happen before. Another great example of this is the Miss France organization. Actually, Maeva, who represented France in 2019, had previously been selected to compete at Miss World. So to be clear, in the past, in order to compete at Miss Universe, you either were a runner-up during the year of competition that you'll compete at Miss Universe, or you would have had to have won your national title. To my knowledge, this is the first time that an organization has sent a contestant who did not win their national pageant, or a contestant who was not a runner-up during their respective year at Miss Universe. And add on to that fact, I have never heard of an organization actually selecting a judge to represent the country at Miss Universe. So the equivalent, though, would be if I went to compete at Miss USA and I won Miss USA 2024, but instead of sending me to Miss Universe, they would send my judge from that year. My judge who had never ever won Miss USA before, but they would still choose to send her in my place. Now, the other interesting thing about this is that, like I said, Emma was crowned on September 1st. Several hours later, they say, never mind, it's not going to be Emma, we're going to send somebody else. September 2nd, there was already a red carpet, a step and repeat, where Miss Denmark 2023, who did represent the country at Miss Universe, was crowning Victoria as their representative, stating that they wanted to send a representative who had more experience. Makes sense. Victoria was top 20 at Miss Grand International. But what was interesting about the caption on this post is they said that Victoria's first official appearance as Miss Universe Denmark was the day before she got crowned, when she was judging the pageant. So my question is simple. How can you make an appearance as a reigning title holder if you haven't been crowned yet? My other question, did Miss Denmark already decide to send Victoria to Miss Universe before even crowning their 2024 title holder? I have no idea. What has happened to the rules of eligibility at Miss Universe? What has changed? I don't have a copy of the rules of eligibility. I don't know if stuff has been changing, but it looks like it is, because I have never heard of this happening before at a pageant, sending a judge instead of the winner or a runner-up. That's the other thing you got to think about. None of the runners-up were sent as an alternative either.